We're not getting good audio there, but it is really quite good. In fact, there's several segments during this, and he always comes back to the Corn Palace and relates a little bit to it. But Ruskin Park is up by Forestburg, and there's some history there. Matt Moore, the basketball player from the Yankees, is part of this series as well. And anyway, it came out really nice, I thought. He actually came and talked to me afterwards, just as I introduced myself, and he said, "Do you have time for some questions?" So, of course, they always put the recorder on, you know. Anyway, he played that as part of their NPR, switching over from South Dakota Public Radio to NPR, and we were talking a little bit about Cornelius and Amazing, and we're all ears here, and you know that kind of thing, and we had some chuckles, and I sent that to you. I didn't send that to everybody. Huh. Oh, well, I apologize. I will send it. It's nothing spectacular, but it's kind of fun. Anyway.
I caught part of it on, we're flipping channels.
Okay.
And they were talking to Amy Novak about
Yes.
what it means to play basketball in the Corn Palace.
Yes.
But
So it's quite good. If you, I will send the link out, but SDPB and then Dakota Life is their series. So came out real nice.
That wasn't Wilford Brimley.
Yeah. He looks a little bit like that, I guess. All right. So that's kind of the marketing stuff that's been since the last time we met. Also, last time we met, I asked, hey, we have this huge basketball Sodak 16 thing going on with 3 different ticketing options and blah, blah, blah. Well, we had some helpers. So Ron and Nancy came and helped. Sue and,
Paul.
yeah, Mark?
Paul.
Sue and Paul came and helped. Jen and Troy from across the street did tickets for the whole afternoon. And we were a little stressed, but it went fabulous. People that were here, we had no issues at all, and everyone was appreciative of how it went. We kept the crowd small, and we handled, and when I say crowd small, for each one, because they were very nice crowds, 12, 1,500 people. By far our biggest crowds of the year. That was on the, I guess it was the 5th or 6th. Then we did the Colonel games, which were nice crowds, again, because that was the Colonels were part of that. We followed up with a Sodak night on the 9th, which was, again, big crowds. Some good games, and then followed up with youth wrestling, which if you remember last year, that was the first event canceled for COVID. We had 2,500 people here. We announced masking. We did the best we could. If you remember, that's when our masking was still on until the 13th. Yeah, I wasn't going to wrestle them about it, but it wasn't very good. I didn't hear of any reports of major outbreaks, but our mask mandate within the Corn Palace went off after that event. And since then, we've had the American Cornhole League. So that actually was last Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Nick had Thursday shift till 1:30 a.m.
Yeah.
Wow.
I did Friday. I got home at 5 to 2. And then Saturday was 10:30. And bar was just under $4,000 over 3 nights, which we again, it was all about hosting an event that would run well and we could make some money. So it was a rental for us, and we got the bar and concessions. Concessions were poor, but honestly, these folks, they just drank their breakfast, lunch, and dinner and played cornhole all day long. They were the nicest people. They picked up after themselves. We kind of expected, we were taking tickets on Thursday and Friday thinking folks would come in the evenings and watch. No really fan following. It was those who came to play each of the sessions, and they supported each other, and that was about it. I would literally say maybe there was 5 people here watching as fans. The rest were actually competitors, and as expected, they were very good. There were pros that are on TV. The world's #1, okay, so that's obviously U.S. I don't think they say that in Europe. But anyway, so he was here, along with another half a dozen pros who are on TV regularly. This is what they do for a living. They're sponsored. All travel and expenses are paid, and I'm guessing they must have their bar tab paid too, because it was amazing. So a fun event. We think it will grow. Everyone had compliments about our staff and the facility. It was very appropriate to have it here. So we'll encourage it. It was supported by the Sports and Events Authority to raise the, and that's what got the pros here. And all total, I guess, I just did a door count. I didn't do it specifically for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but if you counted each day, you know, probably at 400 people. But you see the same people come back and do singles, doubles, co-ed singles, co-ed doubles. They have all these different variations. But he wasn't lying. He said 400 people, yes, but they were the same people we were counting. I would have guessed we might have had 100 people in the corn palace at any one time. Is about how that played out. So it was a smaller group, pretty intimate, but it went well. So that was just last weekend. And then, of course, our events are kind of winding down. Our next big event is the recital or dance on May 1st. And then we'll knock out 3 graduations, and then tourism moves in after that, as I had mentioned in our minutes last month. For the month of March, pretty excited about this. We had 15,888 visitors through the door. Last year, we had 8,020. Now, you know that we shut down, obviously, on the 13th, and nothing happened. So all those big events didn't happen. So that's a start. We hope that, you know, we know the graduations will be pretty normal this year. And moving forward with our outdoor shows, Farmers Market, we've already got a half a dozen of events booked on the stage on those Wednesday nights. The JBCC and Community Center and the library are all working together to bring things, and that'll help bring some extra people downtown on Wednesday nights. And we're continuing to work on that.
Doug, real quick, on the Sports and Events Authority with the cornhole, they came to Sports and Events Authority and they wanted thousands and thousands of dollars. And they said, in all reality, it all goes toward the awards. And the more money you've got, the more people that are going to be coming in. And we were just a little bit hesitant on, we wanted to make sure the event, confident in it, and we didn't know this at the time either, or at least I didn't. There's 2 separate cornhole sanction associations. And so the one that we worked with that was over Easter, which said, do you realize that Easter? Oh yeah. Do you realize we're 6 weeks out? Oh yeah. So we couldn't deter, and the guy is a professional that lives in Mitchell, and he's ranked, you remember?
Oh, yeah, he's top 25 anyway.
Yeah, top 25 in the country. And so he said, you guys throw, I can't remember what, was it 1,000 then, that sports event?
2,500.
2,500. And so anyway, it was large enough, we said it was going to be kind of a regional, but once they see it and we get the event and it goes back to Sports and Events Authority, we might be raising that up the dollars, which will then bring it in for a little bit more regional, Wisconsin, Kansas, or wherever. So it was quite a unique event, but they love the fact that we're doing it in the courthouse. So that's where, and they have actually gained, and said, this thing could turn into an event at some point where it is broadcast on ESPN together. They said they look for unique venues like this. So who knows if it's got legs, but it's sure, it's nice to hear the report that we got, that we knew we weren't going to get $2,500 worth of hotel rooms, but if we did do an investment, it's got the possibility of really growing.
Trying to find a quick picture that would show you the setup. So these are just, this is their Facebook page. So you can kind of see a little bit of this. So the champions, they gave out these little miniature boards and prizes and bags, and of course cash is what they're after. This woman is a pro. Well, these are both pros, but see if I can, okay. These 2 right here. Let me, oh gosh, lots of pictures. I could go on. I don't want to do that. As I promised. This one, these 2 women, she is from Florida, did medical records at home. This woman is worked at a manufacturing plant from North Carolina. Both were closed during COVID. They started playing online cornhole about August of last year, and they were chatting as they're random partner playing. They seemed to get along well. They said, no, we should play for real once this weekend. They started playing in December, and they are now pros for this roofing company, and that's what they're doing full time now, these two. And they were just a real pleasure to visit with. You can see that we set up this kind of our fence there. Oh, here's, gosh, I don't want to do a lot of these. These were all winners. You can kind of see, here we go, here we're set up now. So here is a set of boards, and then at the end you see these stands, that's to hold their drinks, but also right here is a little notepad. So and there was 18 of these boards set up. So here's a set, here's a set. So it's 1, 2, then over here 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. On the stage were 17 and 18. And these Wi-Fi, these notepads, so they keep score on those, and then we broadcast it to the big screen. So you can see there's the score zone. This is a championship match going on. It's 19-18, and it shows a score. When they're playing their other games, see if I can get a picture of that. They actually had all of the games broadcast at the same time. So it just had board 1, who was playing, and the score, and they could display 12 at a time. And then we had them out in the lobby. This kid, believe it or not, everybody's daughter would want to marry him. Do not panic. It's organic. Okay, look at his shirt. Okay, so he's just kind of the character. He's a pro.
I'll go record it.
He's top 3. He's top 3 in the world, and that's what he does for a living. Is plays cornhole. You know, it's like that movie. Why him? This little young guy, 15 years old out of Nebraska, he can't be ranked yet, but he would be in the top 5 in the world. So this is the #1 guy in the world right here. So these are our top 3 big money winners at the end on Saturday night. Now these games, keep in mind, take 30 to 45 minutes instead of like what you and I would play.
At the campground?
Yeah. So, yeah, anyway, Tyler Earls is his name, and he does a great job promoting cornhole and the Corn Palace Cornhole. His website or Facebook page is called Corn Palace Cornhole. So you can check it out. I was trying to get a picture of his shirt because it's really cool. And he's got ears of corn to make up the letters. I will try to find it. Here they're playing right here. This is a little known fact. Betty Anderson's nephew, right here. So, oh yeah, there you can kind of see. So yeah, you'll see. Yeah, they're actually landing on the board. Is that what kind of wanted? Oh, that one didn't. So, anyway, I wanted to show you a little of that. Check it out when you get a chance. Okay, that's kind of my report. I want to do a little bit about entertainment. Of course, as we said last time, our shows were all set. But now we have all of the contracts for our openers set as well. I remember talking about light and sound, and we took bids on that. You said get bids. We got bids from 4 companies, and we didn't pick the lowest one, but he was slightly over the lowest. He does the Whiskey Myers show down in their festival in Texas every year, and has a connection to the Dustin Evans band up here. So with those combinations and his bid and good reviews, we chose him, and that contract is now done as well. So light and sound, all of our openers and all of our main acts. We're kind of adding some things like, you remember the Pied Piper of percussion was here about 3 years ago. He would like to come back. We're kind of negotiating with him. I'd like to do some more kid things, which we obviously had to stay away from last year. But that would be a Saturday, Sunday type of thing. And then we're going to bring in some local talent, low cost, to play on the outdoor stage prior to our Friday, Saturday shows and possibly after, trying to keep those folks downtown for as long as possible. So, you know, the Starlighter Band is always interested, Billy Lurkin, some of those local folks that could do that. Honestly, Weston Frank might even play one of those. He's actually opening for Whiskey Myers on Friday, but we might actually bring him back and do that on Saturday with him. Because he wants to he does a lot of free work too. You didn't know that. Weston does a lot of fundraising for groups. So we feel comfortable where we're at there. Next, I'm going to talk about the ticketing a little bit. We are ready to get permission to release. We have all the graphics for all the artists. We're going to do a release. Now, keep in mind, our concerts have been on the website since October, November, when we knew they were coming back. So that's not a secret, but a full release and tickets sale June 1st, okay, is when those will go on sale. So I'll kind of work with Jen offline to how to do that best. We'd like her to do our marketing again. We felt that went well and last year, and we'd like to do that again moving forward for this festival. The Corn Palace Challenge, I just want to throw this out there. It's a September event, and right now they're not committing to it. I really want a commitment from them because if they aren't going to be here, I'm going to do a show in that September. That's an open weekend before volleyball and basketball start, and we want to put a show in there. We've got all kinds of tribute shows that are traveling. We've got ABBA, we've got John Denver. We do some rock stuff maybe. We did book Hairball. We talked about that. We did book them for November 13th. And we have Light and Sound contracted for them. It's a Saturday. So that's what sure, those are scheduled, state and national. Labor Day weekend and the following Saturday. Yep. So the only one that you kind of think about is the big one is the Corn Palace Challenge, and of course canceled last year. And I did talk with them briefly, saw them at the wrestling. Their son wrestles, and they weren't willing to commit. I said I'm going to need a commitment at some point. We don't take a deposit from them, but it's certainly a date I can fill. So, any questions about entertainment things, past or present?
What was the difference in the bids for the?
Sure, 19,000 up to 31,000, and the one we chose was was $20,000, and that's Kansas Pro Sound, is who that is. Andy Van Meter is his name, the owner of that company, and as it sounds, they're out of Kansas. We had one from North Dakota, one from Omaha, and one from the ones we rented for the stage from last year, Slamhammer Media, or Slamhammer Audio out of Minneapolis, the other one. So, and they're all great to work with. I learned a lot. So that was good. No, we put a lot of feelers out. Just nothing really came back on that. So we're still looking. I saw this Ruskin's Park, for example. Well, those kinds of places that have old stages that the framework is good, we could work with stuff like that. We're into refurbishing things. We have some skilled labor here at the Corn Palace with time we can find to do those things. So we're still looking. If you hear of anything, you're on eBay, Amazon, something, Trash and Treasure, and you see something like that, let me know. We're also looking for a used horse trailer, a covered trailer for our decorators, and one that's in decent shape. But we have I think we budgeted $2,500 for that. So if you see one setting off on the side of the road, let me know. I'll follow up and see if we can track it down. We would get a sponsor to sandblast it, put some graphic on it, and we'd have a trailer for our decorators to use. Right now we borrow one from the city. It's an open trailer, so if it rains, everything gets wet, and they got to dig through all that. So it's a small covered horse trailer is what we're looking for. Has open sides. Hey, speaking of decorating murals, of course we're all set there. Wesleyan's got them. I'm getting a printout. It'll be a front and back of all the colors. They just couldn't get it to me for today, so we'll have it for next meeting. So you'll see the murals and what our tourists will see when they say 2022 murals under the big top, and they'll be able to say, "Oh my gosh, the newspaper story, 100 years of the Corn Palace." It's taken a long, long time, but I think from our side, we're doing everything we can. It's in Brad's hands now somewhat. I think he's got 1 month worth. We literally got January, February just last week. So it's been a little bit longer, but it's going to be really nice. And again, bottom line is we're set up for the summer, and it will be there, and it'll maintain it all the way through the end of the year this year. So that's still still happening, it's still good. We are currently hiring, have applications out and taking applications for summer decorators. We did not do that last year. And a couple things we discovered that, we didn't realize how much traffic there was coming to the Corn Palace over spring break. Neither Nick nor I were here. We were closed. And so we didn't take full advantage of all the tourists from Wisconsin and Minnesota who were shut down for a week and came this direction. We had a lot of people come through. Saturdays, we were getting 400 people through over spring break. So Nick has arranged for, I guess I sidetracked real quick, volunteers from the community. So we have someone here today for the first day, setting and greeting as a greeter, and basically welcoming people to the Corn Palace, because we were kind of missing that part of it, telling them about the gift shop and, where to start your tour and just answer questions. And we never did that last year because we weren't open, and it never occurred to me that, we better arrange that. So I was a little late to the party getting that started, but Nick has got some volunteers coming in now, and we'll do the same thing for the fall when we leave. When tourism leaves, your folks stayed till end of October, I think, right? And it was awesome. I just never thought of having that in place for this spring break. When basketball ends, up till tourism moves in, we have to have folks doing that. It's very helpful. But if you have anyone who's interested in decorating on the world's only Corn Palace, it's a chance of a lifetime. My boys did it for 3 years. They just thought it was a hoot and a good place to work. We're safe and competitive wages. We're taking applications now. We prefer they be 16 years old because they will run a saw, and and then if they're 18, they can be up in our list. So, if you know somebody, send them to the city website or have them contact the Corn Palace. And that's my report of things. So I'd like to have Nick. Has got several things he's been working on. Tomorrow he's getting new flooring in his office, which we're pretty excited about. If you haven't looked in the box office lately, it's kind of a colored square carpet that was new in 14, remodeled 15, and it's pretty stained. We tried to shampoo it. Our staff have shampooed it twice while I've been here, and we can't get it clean.
And the elevator.
Oh, and we did the elevator too. Yeah, the elevator's done. You haven't seen it, yeah. So anyway, Nick will get a new floor starting tomorrow morning. So
We're excited about that.
Enjoy that.
Yeah. Brand new floor.
So there'll be
If I do really, really well, we get new chairs.
Yeah.
Okay.
not in 2021.
Yeah, I gotta find something else. Okay, I just wanted to show some stuff, just because, we don't do a whole lot talking about financials, but I just wanted to show just a couple of things, so.
The blue line, actually, I don't know if you can see, but the blue line is 2021, the orange is 2020, and the gray is 2019. The reason that I put 3 years up there is because last year, obviously, with COVID, it's hard to say, we're doing so great compared to last year. Well, what does that mean? I mean, when we were closed for almost a month and everything else. So I put 2019 up there to have kind of a normal year to look against. So compared to last year, we're down 19% as far as concession sales goes. Truthfully, most of that is just simply due to during the beginning of the year when we had Dakota Wesleyan basketball games and high school games, the attendance just wasn't there because it couldn't be, which we all know why, so I'm not going to go deep into that. But if we're kind of tracking according to 2019, we're flat for kind of year over year. So that was kind of encouraging, just simply as I'm kind of, I don't remember when I started actually, but as I'm finishing my first year, knowing that we haven't just kind of tanked the whole thing.
Plus, in 2019, you would have had regular basketball, and you didn't have that. did you?
Yes,
So
we would have had-
therefore, it could have been-
Yes, thank you.
so it's even
Actually,
better than that.
yeah, no, that's awesome. Anytime you want to chime in with those kind of little nuggets, you go right ahead. Okay, so it not great news, but it's encouraging that we're still kind of on track. And then the other thing I just wanted to kind of go over too was some of the salaries and payroll. This is something that since Doug's been here, obviously this has been something that has been a major focus of just trying to make sure that we're efficient with the people that we have in the building and not to just be adding extra hours where we don't need them. So obviously 2020, that was much higher number. There was a lot of basketball at the beginning of January of that year. And then you can obviously see where it kind of tails off. 2019, which I'm using kind of as our little comparison, was higher than what we're at now. One thing that is incredibly encouraging is overtime is down 70%. So the nice thing about that is that we're getting stuff done without having to stress the staff and just have people here for longer periods of time. And then the other thing that I was going to say, just as a comparison from 2019, was that our payroll is still down. Our kind of total salaries number is down 15% from 2019. So there's some positive things for sure. Keeping just us as efficient as possible, especially when we're trying to deal with having events with half the people or sometimes less than what we're normally having, is good. And then the other thing that I just want to say is that as far as I could see, the last 3 years, this was the first time that the first quarter didn't end in a deficit. So we had some things that kind of attributed to that, but we can very easily get under that if we needed to, but so far so good. So, but a lot of that is not doing anything crazy. It's just kind of doing smart business, watching what our expenses are, and just trying to be efficient with what we have. Is there any questions on that? I kind of didn't go.
One thing we do have to watch is our kids are amazing. Our workers they work hard. You know, yes, there's the downtime. Like during the cornhole, they were slow. But and we don't have anyone ever working by themselves. When they're young people, we have 2 there. But when we had ball games, they are working hard. So we gave less students more hours. Well, the issue we have is that those we keep in the summer then are now full-time, part-time, right? Well, then we have to watch the total hours for the year. So we're going to manage that. That'll be maybe a concern. We might end up adding a few more people, which is tricky because the kids want hours, and they can go other places and get more hours, where when we combine it with their full-time work in the summer, we get over the allotted amount for part-time employees. So, Nick and I, we will watch that.
The other thing I was just showing with the seating chart is this is something that is constantly being worked on. When we were trying to do this, we had the general admission seating, and we have some seating on the floor. And this is actually the chart that you would see kind of from the back end, like we would see. But I just wanted to show that we're trying to do some different things to kind of simplify it, because ultimately when people are trying to buy tickets online, which of course we hope they buy them anywhere, but when they're buying them online, we want it to be as simple as possible and people to understand exactly where they're going and what they're doing. And some of the other maps that we've just used in the past, there's nothing wrong with them, but it just would show every single seat. And if we had a general admission in an area, you wouldn't understand that you don't need to buy a specific seat. So again, trying to keep the questions down and to keep lines moving so that when we are selling tickets, we're good. And then
Does that make sense? When we talk here, you see there's no seats in this red, you know, they said, I want a section B. Boom, here you go. You know, it's when otherwise the discussion leads to, I want B3, you know?
And then it's obviously no longer general admission. So it's just to try to keep it as simple as possible.
And these we're charged more money for too. Now you have that reserved seat. So now when they want to take our time to get a specific seat, you're actually paying more for that and have that seat. Otherwise, as you go into these next ones, and I'll let Nick talk about that, but remember we have the standing, or they can go up here and sit down. If they want to have a seat to sit in, they they're going to buy in section A.
The other note that I will make is when you're looking at this online, when you hover over like the party pit or whatever, it'll show you what the price is too. So it makes it very simple to purchase tickets. But again, this is something that we'll continue to work on to kind of clean it up and make it look as professional as possible. But for right now, it was trying to make it, just trying to simplify it a little bit so people could really understand where they're going and where what they're buying and what they're getting for what they're buying.
You know, Nick, it made me think of this. So we had a discussion about VIP party pit, and now that I'm seeing this graphic, Jen, you had, did we end up deciding to use the word party pit for that?
Oh, I can change that.
Yeah, well, that's what I was wondering. I would have to go check our minutes, because we had it wasn't necessarily VIP, because then you think you're getting backstage passes and free food and preferred seating or something like that. This is simply a place where if you want to be in the pit, they call it the pit, right? That's where you're at. So I just didn't know. We'll check that.
Yeah.
'Cause I remember we had a discussion about it, and then you were working on it. And this is all done in e-tix now, which, again, part of the reason we there's a couple of reasons we moved to June 1st. Remember, we were selling tickets in Christmas time? Honestly, that Oak Ridge Boys show just came back to just haunt us forever because of the length of time that we bought tickets and moved it, and then we couldn't refund them. And it cost us a lot of staff and city time refunding those seats. So given our, it's not like we have 10,000 seats. We just think that we can, June 1st, and a lot of shows I'm noticing too, State Fair, Central States Fair, Sioux Empire Fair, all doing that June, July timeframe. So I think we'll be absolutely fine.
Yep. That's really all that I had for that, so we'll look on the VIP, and if there's any phrasing, we'll get that corrected. But other than that, that's really all that I have. The cornhole tournament was interesting, to say the least. I did not realize how long that went. I thought it was kind of a joke, truthfully, like when I saw the schedule, and I was like, oh yeah, 1 a.m., we'll be out of here way before then. But they just keep going. It's kind of like, what are the, I'm sorry, just quickly, what are those games called that they play at the end when they just play, like, for cash or whatever?
Well, it was just open. Yeah, they use the term sit and go.
Sit and go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sit and go. So when you're in the tournament, if you think of like wrestling, once you get beat out, they don't want you just sitting around, so they'll do cash payouts. So everybody, all the first losers, say, okay, throw in $10. Now we have, let's say there's 15, 16 first losers. So they all get in. They don't all get in, but if they did, it's $160. So they said, we're going to pay out top three. They're going to pay out 50, 40, 30, or something like that. And then the balance goes to the administrator. That's how Tyler kind of makes all that work. So then they're playing. So you got losers playing in boards maybe 5 to 8. Then your second losers, next round, they're out. They do the same thing. They put them in a pool. So they're playing over there and playing for money. And then you still have your winners who are playing for the big pot. So that went on like that Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So you had your singles, women's singles, first losers. Then they're playing. Winners are over here, losers are over here. Then you had your second losers. So then it went to your intermediate singles in the afternoon. Then you had your advanced singles. And every time, once you lost, the losers were still playing cornhole for cash, And those weren't huge pots, but they were $150, $200 all the time. So they threw in a lot of cash to keep trying to win and to keep playing and to keep coming up to the bar, which was good. We broke in a few new bartenders, which worked out great. So we were kind of building that because we, for festivals and even our pre-Sturgis party, we'll use our bartenders for that too. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good learning experience.
We learned they don't eat much food, so
Yeah.
we might do something different, where we actually take things out to them and try to sell at the table maybe, I don't know. But that'll be a different change for us.
Mhm.
Anyway, that's kind of what's going on. We feel good about, last year this time I was, festival was a big stressor, our April meeting, oh my, okay, we're going to do indoor shows and all of that. And so, murals are done, as far as theme, I should say. Hiring's being done. Festival shows are intact. Ticket shows are being built. We're working on the May meeting will be, remember I want to start the advertising thing earlier because I noticed the State Fair's got C&B operations on one of their concerts, already. I'm going, that's where I want to be at, if not, by June, July, next year we say, hey, we have our shows and we can announce the sponsor of the show when we announce the show. So that would be kind of a goal of mine to, as we move forward. And that'll all come developing some of the relationships with our advertising inside too. So there's things we can stretch, with the Ruby Tuesdays, who wants to advertise again and continue, and, and Mitchell Tech and Avera and those folks. So that will be kind of our May meeting. Talk about advertising and directions we can go, and I'll have some new information about that too. So I wanted to, before I forget, I want to congratulate Jordan. I know you reffed state basketball. Saw you on TV. So I know Mr. Smith recognized somebody last night too, and I'm going, right, Jordan was on TV too, and so anything for the good of the order. Otherwise, that's all we have. That is a record.
And I'm sure you guys probably picked up on our strategic planning meeting at
Oh.
the city council. The Corn Palace did come up as a suggestion. Now, nothing obviously is in place, and we're a week into this, so I guess we don't quite have drawings or anything yet. But anyway, we are very in the infancy of working on maybe what we could do to mainly improve the seating and improve the area that's on the floor. Maybe you guys benefit the Pentagon, the telescopic type seating, where if you need square footage, you can push the seats back, but if you need seats, you can bring them out. And obviously, really, we've had some schematics of taking a look at, but we're just starting to take a look at it. But if you guys start seeing some of the things out in the media or whatever, we will try to bring it to you guys first before it hits there. So at least you're kind of aware, and we want your input also. But like I said, we're basically 1 week into the council saying, take a look at it.
Yeah, that's very exciting. I mean, I would love to be a part of a major change, just other than just operational things, my time here to actually make major change to the Corn Palace and say. So I'm very interested in that process and see how that plays out. I guess an improvement I didn't mention that is more of Stephanie's project, but in the plaza, is we were holding is the audio system. And that never got done just because of COVID and all that kind of thing, but we are moving forward with that. So we'll be talking with Mid-States Audio. We have the plan. It's a thick document that's all laid out, and it basically would be an outdoor system installed permanently on the plaza. And then we do a couple things. All of the equipment would be inside the building, so no vandalism there. You would have outdoor speakers and then underground wiring. That would be about it. Everything else would be indoors. You'd run it with an iPad, and they just plug in. So a band comes on. So for like right now, for an event, we haul our system out there. And it's not a huge task, but it takes 30 minutes. And then we're using our equipment and setting outside. And we had a situation last, at the Parade of Lights. Nick was downstairs. I was being Santa.
Yeah.
And so neither of us are in the building, and the parade's going on, and we have some vandalism on the stage. And yeah, there's a group of teenagers were screaming profanities. We left the system out because we had the story time, remember, before story time for the kids, and yeah, screaming obscenities while the parade was going on through our loudspeaker system. Knocked over microphones, speakers, just general bad stuff going on. And literally in the half an hour we were out of the building. So anyway, we could never leave that stuff out overnight, where this stuff will be vandal-proof for the most part. So anyway, that's going to be exciting. Remember Adam Pope played last year. He filled in our Friday night with Rusty Ryerson, basically gave us a nice Friday night show. Well, Mitchell Main Street is bringing him back in for an August show, their first Friday in August. He's coming through and shot us a really, really good deal. I should say that's not a Corn Palace event. But he'll be just able to plug in and play. Weston Frank, all these regionals could just use our system. And that actually saves us some money, too, with getting the band, because they just plug into our system. They do their programming and play. So that'll be pretty exciting. And the other part's exciting. Anything that's in the Corn Palace now will be able to be broadcast to the plaza and out the front of the Corn Palace, where we can't do that now. Same thing if there's something on the plaza stage, we can run it through the speakers on the front of the Corn Palace and indoors. Where when we did festival, remember, we actually had to have that done. the long cable, and, which was actually pretty cool. People could be inside, outside, so we'll literally fill this entire area with whatever programming we want. So if it's a, you know, if it's a ball game, we literally could broadcast right outside in the plaza, so people that are walking up can hear the game announcers going on and that kind of thing. So, well, I think there's lots of ways we can use that. So, I'm not going to mention another idea because I want to stay on time.
That's up to you. You already lost them, so. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
All right. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you. Try to take a piece of pizza with you.